And Priors Committee meeting to order for Monday, April 13th. Take approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Noxana.
That the April 13th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes for March 9th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Noxana.
That the March 9th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Reports, Community Service Department fees and charges review. Report dated April 13, 2026 from the Director of Operations and Infrastructure regarding Community Service Department fees and charges for review. Recommendation? Councillor Bertrand?
For discussion, please.
Seconder. Councillor Noxana. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. First off, thank you very much to staff for the report. It's very well detailed. There's lots of information here. Overall, I do agree with a lot of the recommendations staff's bringing forward. Just to start with the community center, I do know we've had some issues with some storage space in the community center, and looking through all of these charges for all these different things that we have, I'm just reading through it. I'm just wondering, do we need all this stuff? Like plastic chairs, you know, there's quite a few things here that are very minimal charges, but are taking up space, obviously, to store. So I'm just curious if staff could have some insight on some of this stuff, if we need it or not.
So I would think, I'll go to staff, but I would think that like the chairs we're talking about is for when they send up in regards to if somebody's renting the rooms for dinner, bingo, grad spring bingo coming up, craft hockeyville chairs and tables were used, but Ms. Scott?
Yes, but I will defer that question to the acting director of community services so he can provide some additional information about all of the things that we're currently storing in the community center.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. Yes, the items that are still listed are items that we still use for our own events. There is a recommendation to remove the pop-up tents, as the ones that we have remaining are branded with the DTR logo.
Follow up?
No, not at the moment.
Good. Anything else from council when it comes in regards to community center charges, fees and charges? Try to split this up. I think it might make it easier. Okay. Anybody have any questions or concerns when it comes to the Tumbler Ridge Arena and curling rink? Councillor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one other question in regards to the community center on page 9 of 37, where it says the portable projector screen rental. Is that those new blow-up screens that we just brought out here during Hockeyville?
Ms. Scott?
Again, that is a question I'll defer to the director, the acting director of community services.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. No, those big blow-up screens, they are not for rent.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions when it comes to the community center? When we're talking chairs, coffee, that kind of stuff before we go to the rink and curling rink? Okay, moving on. Questions, concerns in regards to the arena or the curling rink when it comes to fees and charges for review? Okay, moving on. Golf course. Any things council would like to bring up for discussion, comments, or concerns? Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you very much to staff. The comparisons on page 20 are excellent. It's a good breakdown there. It definitely shows us an accurate average for the region. And it definitely shows within the report that we're way behind on our fees or increasing of our fees. So I do like the idea that staff is bringing forward as far as fee changes, as far as 10% pretty much across the board. However, I don't feel it's enough in some areas. And I really, I think we need to look to the future a little bit as well and not have to revisit this every 2 years for whatever reason. So I do have some suggestions as far as changes to the fees on page 21. And then, yeah, I guess we could start there. So certainly our trail fees are extremely low. Our membership fees are certainly very low. I guess before I make a motion here, I'm curious, will these changes that we will recommend to a next council meeting, will that be included in this year's budget for revenue?
Ms. Scott?
That is a question I will ask the Director of Finance to answer.
Mayor and Council, as these are kind of coming a little bit later, I don't think we've actually included any of the changes in the budget, but I'll have to get back to you tomorrow once we go through. I'll take another look at what we've proposed. I'm not sure if it was actually factoring in the rate increases presented tonight for recreation services or not. I could defer that to one of the other staff if they have an answer on that.
So maybe I could just weigh in a little bit here. I would think until this passes at a regular council meeting, the rates would not be included in budget until after that point. Just because we pass it forward tonight, if we make changes or don't make changes and go with staff recommendations, it is not passed until it hits the next regular council meeting. So then they would hopefully have time. It may not be added directly into the budget right away, but I would imagine they would get it into the budget
And that's
after the time.
That's my curiosity, Mayor, is will these proposed changes get to a regular council meeting before we pass budget this month?
I would think it depends on the changes we make tonight. Once we send this back, I would look at Ms. Scott to see if this would make the regular meeting of April 20th. And if not, it would make the May 4th. Again, if it makes a later meeting, staff may have to add them after the budget, just because of the time frame. But Ms. Scott?
Yeah, we would present this for first 3 readings on April 20th to be adopted on May 4th.
Okay, so it is possible then to include these possible changes to revenue this year.
It may just, when it comes to revenue, it may just get added late. So when I talk about late, it may not be added in time to approve the budget. Staff may be able to turn it around, and if Ms. Scott wants to say that staff will have it within that time frame from the May 4th to whatever the date is going to be on approval of the budget, so be it. I would think it may take, it will get added, it'll just be late added, I would think, into the revenue part of it. But Ms. Scott, unless I'm wrong.
That is a question, again, I will ask the Director of Finance if he can answer for council.
Yeah, Mayor and Council. Due to it being a revenue item, like you've mentioned, that does kind of give us a buffer within the budget anyway, because an increase in revenue is obviously a positive impact on the budget. So regardless of, I guess, I'm not even sure what the timeline for this is as of adoption, the rates would increase. So that would be like an additional buffer within the budget cycle. So I guess it's a positive impact regardless of whether it's in the financial plan or not.
Okay. Okay, so if council wants to turn to page 22, the top table there, I've got some number changes. If you want to just write them in, you can see my thinking here. So I'd like to move that we increase our recommended fees at the golf course for the 2026 season on page 22 as follows. Membership, $725. Green fees, 9 hole, $30. Green fees, 18 hole, $43. Power cart, 9 holes, $25. Power cart, 18 holes, $40. Trail fees for the season, $150. Trail fees daily, $12. Cart storage electric, $600 for the year. Cart storage gas, $550 for the year.
Okay. If you're going to put a motion on it, I would suggest we do them one at a time, just because if not, there could be amendments or it could get defeated as a whole. Councillor Noxana.
Yep. Thank you. I don't know if that was your motion. Not yet? Okay.
No motion on the floor. I just say that we should probably do one at a time if we're going to do them like that.
Okay. I am not opposed to increases in fees. I'm wondering if we increase the trail fee, both the season and the daily, is that able to be tracked separately from golf course revenue so that we can upgrade the trails specifically with the money we're collecting for those trails?
Ms. Scott, I know there's been conversation previously that starting up a different GL line when it came to golf cart rent, it was no motion, was conversation when it came to the power cart rentals and the trail fees. But Ms. Scott, is that an opportunity? I'm assuming you would need direction from council to have a different GL so that money is used specifically if it's being collected for trail fees, that it's used for trail fee maintenance.
It's also currently with the cash receipting system that we're using at the golf course, that it does keep track of the separate fees that we're collecting. So even if it wasn't a separate line item, we are still tracking it that way. And I don't have, I know council was provided a revenue and expense for the golf course, and I don't have that in front of me to be able to tell you if it's on there or not. But that is a question, again, I will ask the Director of Finance if he is aware if there is a separate GL or if we would start a separate GL to keep track of that.
Mayor and Council, I believe we do have a separate trail fee GL right now. So we can definitely track those separately. And then moving forward, I guess we would, well, trail fees are within the scope of the golf course maintenance. And so I'm assuming we'd have to do a little bit more structure in terms of tracking that kind of expense directly related to trail fees, or to trail maintenance. But yeah, we can look at that for sure.
Thank you. Councillor Noxana?
Thank you. Yeah, definitely in favor, specifically if we're able, this has been a concern from golf course users, golf cart users, that if we're collecting for those trails, could we please update the trails as the revenue comes in? So this is a great opportunity for us to go back to the golfers and say, yes, we're increasing the fees, but it's because we would like to upgrade our facilities to what you would expect.
Any other discussion? Councillor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd like to move that we change the membership for the golf course 2026 season to $725 for the year.
Seconder on the motion, Councillor Hoffman. Any discussion in regards to the motion? Councillor Bertrand?
No.
Okay, sorry. Call the question, all in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Bertrand? Was that a year?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to change, or I'd like to move that we change the green fees for 9 holes charge to $30 per round.
Do you want to do the 18 at the same time?
Yep, and 18 holes for $43.
Seconder on the motion, Councillor Noxana. Discussion on the motion, that's in regards to the green fees for 9 holes and then 18 holes. Oh, sorry, Councilor Bertrand.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the reason for the change is I don't think 10% is enough. I've been told numerous times around the region that our golf course is prime time. Chetwynd not having a golf course at the moment has brought a lot of revenue over to our side. They're not minding driving an hour coming out. So I do think to avoid changing fees every 2 or 3 years, I think a little bit more than 10% on this is fair. And it's certainly justified to charge this amount for the product that we have down there.
Thanks. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that we increase the fees for the power carts for 9 holes to $25 per round, and for 18 holes to $40 per round.
Seconder on the motion, Councilor Noxana. Discussion? Councilor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just curious, Councillor Bertrand's reasoning for not increasing the 18-hole rate at all.
Councilor Bertrand.
It's actually a mistake. We were overcharging. Usually, if you look in the other courses, it's usually about half of the original charge to do the extra 18, and we were actually charging over 100%. We were charging more, so that's the reasoning for that. And I think, again, the reasoning to go a little bit more than 10% on this one is, again, we've invested a lot of money in buying new carts and just trying to increase that revenue.
Any other discussion? I think that's my only concern, is increasing the 9-hole but decreasing the 18-hole. You're getting, to me, you're paying $25 for 9 holes, another $15 in regards to doing an extra 9. And we're downgrading the second round, and when it comes to golf cart rentals, and when we talk about the upgrade in regards to our golf carts, to me, we're doing injustice when it comes to that. So for that reason, I won't support the motion. I mean, I appreciate the increase to the 9-hole, but to me, we should be the same equivalent increase to the 18-hole to be beneficial when it comes to being able to have the money to replace golf carts. Councilor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. So I guess I might have been a little bit confused on this. There's 2 different numbers here. On page 21, it says we charge $44 for 18 holes. And on page 22, it says we charge $40. So I'm not sure which is correct.
Yeah, how would I do it? Ms. Scott? Might have been just a typo.
I will defer that question to the Acting Director of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. The one rate has the tax in it, the 42.
44 has the tax in it.
Yeah. So,
So I think on page 21 where the confusion is, 18-hole says regional average is 39.24 and it says Tom Ridge 44, but if you flip over to page 22, it states that we're 40 at this time and recommend is 44. So is there a typo out on page 21 or is the typo on page 22? Ms. Scott?
yes.
That's what you're looking for, right?
Again, I'll defer that question to the Acting Director of Community Services.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. Yes, it would appear to be a typo on that chart.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Steph. I'm going to make an amendment. I'd like to make an amendment that we charge power cart for 18-hole at $44. If I can get a seconder on the amendment, Councilor Bertrand. Discussion on the amendment? I'll call the question on the amendment. All in favor? Carried. Any more discussion on the amended motion? Amended motion would be 9-hole golf, power cart rental is $25 for 9 holes, $44 for 18 holes. Any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that we increase the trail fees for the season to $150 and the daily to $12.
Seconder on the motion, please. Councilor Noxana. Discussion? I don't have any concern in regards to the rate. I think it's, we look at, when we talk about regional averages and what some of the courses charge, it's quite significant. My only question or concern would be, Ms. Scott, when we talk about yearly trail fees for the season for power carts, are we looking at implementing a sticker program so that it can be captured in regards to trail fees?
We have not looked at implementing a sticker program. Staff are confident that they are collecting trail fees from everyone. So we have not looked at implementing that for this year.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that we implement a sticker program to identify the carts that have paid trail fees for the season.
I'll second that. Discussion? Again, I appreciate staff comments in here that we capture it all. I've been down on men's night and such, and when there's a multi amount of people there from in town and out of town, I do believe that they try their best, but I think when you are belonging to an association, when you pay trail fees in regards to sledding, you get a sticker to put on your sled and such, or you're not allowed to be on the trails. If you don't have a sticker that's classified as not being on the trails, we don't so much enforce it in our backcountry around Tumbler Ridge. Very well focused in that, and when it comes to wells for sledding, you can't unload your sled unless you have that sticker on that sled. I think it's important to have that. Now, I think, we have to make sure it's in the right location and we're not demanding where people put it, but because nobody wants to, wreck a wrap or other carts that are painted and stuff. But I think it's important to have that. We supply, the reason I like the motion is we also supply, when people buy memberships, we actually have a membership ring for their golf cart or for their golf club. So people know that they have a full-time membership there. So I think it's important. So I will support it. Any other questions, concerns? Call the question, all in favor? Motion carries. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. Last one for this table. I'd like to move that we increase the cart storage for the electric carts to $600 for the season, for the year, and the cart storage for the gas at $550 for the year.
Seconder, Councilor Noxana, discussion. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. The reason for these changes, I do see staff is recommending no change, but based on regional averages. But I really, to be honest, I don't agree with us heating that building, and especially in the wintertime, costs will certainly go up for that. But also because there hasn't been any movement since that cart storage building was built. The people that have gotten their spots have been in there since the beginning, and there has been a very large waiting list there. So, the reason for the change is to try to recoup some of the costs, but I'm also thinking that maybe we should look at seasonal changes or seasonal pricing and not heat that building in the wintertime, but we'll start with this.
Thank you. Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilor Bertrand. I think this is also a step in the direction to see what the demand really is and if we can viably build another building or expand or something in that nature. With the current rates, it's just not justifiable from the numbers that we've seen. So if this basically shows no movement, then it shows that we still have room and we can look at how big and how fancy of a secondary building that we can look at in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question on the table that is in our package on page 20. When we talk about regional rates, are these for like the entire year or just for the season?
Ms. Scott?
Again, that's a question I will defer to the Acting Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. Yes, Mr. Norbury, if you take a look at that chart, you will see there's a check mark by annual, and there is marked seasonal as well.
So on the list they have here, it looks like there's only one that does the season, and that's White Court. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you. I was looking at the chart above. So I'm not in favor of raising the fees to that amount. Looking at the regional averages, that's way above anybody else. I mean, I can appreciate raising costs. Rates rarely change in Tumbler Ridge, and I think it's reasonable to have regular rate increases, but this is quite a large jump. Yeah, so I can't support it. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Do you have an amendment? Councilor Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm looking at it, and it's $15 a month. That's what the rate increase is over an annualized rate. And when I look at it, what it annually costs for storage space there, that I just don't think this is going to move the needle on people wanting to leave it. And if it's not, then it just tells me that we've been undercharging for a very long time. So I'm in favor of keeping the rate and going from there.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Make a couple comments. Won't be supporting the motion on the floor. I do appreciate the concept of raising golf cart storage. I just think our increase, when we look at the golf courses around the region, like close to us, you know, Doss Creek, and don't get me wrong, some of these golf courses have been there for a lot longer than ours, and they're at $400, whether it's gas or electric. And theirs is also heated, is what I'm guessing what it mentions there. You know, when I look at that, and then obviously Lone Wolf, same concept. It's, you know, I'd be fine with an increase. I just think that increase is quite steep. I mean, I would be curious to know if any of our golfers that have storage down there have already paid. What would we do moving that forward, Ms. Scott, if this motion carries? Not sure if anybody's already paid for 2026 season. If they have, what do we do if this motion passes before then?
I am not aware if anybody has already paid their memberships. That is a question I can ask, again, the Acting Director of Community Services, if he can provide that information.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. I currently know of 2 members that have paid for the season. And 4 memberships as well. Oh, sorry. 2 people have paid for the cart storage, and there's upwards of 50 people that have already paid for their annual memberships.
So I guess my question, Ms. Scott.
So in regards to people that have already paid their memberships or their golf storage, then they, because they've already paid them, they would not be subject to this increase.
Okay, that's what I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, call the question. The motion on the floor is to increase cart storage for electric to 600 and gas to 550. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councilor Norbury is opposed. Mayor Kukalka is opposed. Motion carries. All right. Anything else in regards to the golf course? Oh, Ms. Scott.
I was just looking for some clarification from council. So there was the motion to increase memberships. That was a adult membership. And I'm just looking for clarification on whether that same percentage increase then will be applied to junior, senior, youth, et cetera, and what rates we're going to propose for those. Those are on page 35 of the agenda to have a look at what we're currently charging versus what we have proposed.
Thank you for that. Actually, I have it flagged already in my agenda to have that conversation if we were leaving the others at the same or not. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you to staff for pointing that out. I would be in favor of the recommended 10% increase to the rest of the membership charges. Does that need to be by motion?
It'll need to be by motion. Like, are we just going with their recommendations? Or are we adding the same increase that we've just done in regards to the adult membership, primary adult? Okay, I'm going to put the first motion back on the floor, just for, I think for a good debate. Since it's in the same meeting, anybody can do it, but I'm going to put the same motion on the floor with obviously some other information here that maybe we need to discuss a bit further. And that motion was that membership, which would have been an adult primary membership, be raised from $653 to $725. I'm going to put it back out on the floor with new information as on page 35. And I think we can have a discussion in regards to that when it comes generally. I think it'll make it easier for staff. So like right now, staff is added, obviously the increase to all. And if we want to change one, I think we should, it's fine to do one, but then we leave all the rest the same and put it in the motion that we're only raising primary adult and then keeping the recommended that staff has put forward. Scott?
And so I would recommend for everything that's listed on page 35. So we had talked about increasing green fees, but is that for weekends, weekdays? Like there's a whole bunch of different costs in there as well, again, for the youth, the seniors. So I would recommend just kind of revisiting everything that is listed on page 35.
That one was going to come up in the next motion because they're two separate motions. So we're sure, Councillor Noxana.
Thank you. So is what you're looking for an approximate percentage of straight across increases? Okay.
In regards to the for golfing for the memberships, I think I'm fine if we're only going to and that's fine. That's the only reason I brought the motion back forward for reconsideration. If we want to keep primary adult membership at the increase to $725 and keep the rest the same, that's fine. It's up to council. That's just clear direction to staff. But we're also going to have to bring the green fees back because obviously we've increased one and there's different fees throughout that, or we're just going to set one blanket fee. Doesn't matter if it's during the week or the weekends, which is, that's okay too. That's the will of council. Councilor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. So the original motion of the membership of 725 is on the floor at the moment?
It's back on for reconsideration with the information that we've come off page 35.
Okay.
So it's up for reconsideration so it can be changed or revoted and defeated.
Okay, so as far as yearly membership or season membership goes, I think the only thing we should change is the adult couple membership to kind of stay in line with the possible 725 amount. So I'd like to make an amendment to this motion. And I'd like to move an amendment that we increase the adult couple membership to $1,350.
Keeping primary at 725 for adults, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion before we get a second, or anybody want anything else when it comes to membership, golf memberships? Okay, oh, scrolling. Be easier for a break. How about let's take a 5-minute break? So there is a recommendation on the floor, but it's not seconded yet. We can get it seconded after the break.
Amendment?
Yeah, it's on there, but it's not seconded, but we can second it after a 5-minute break. Just give golf course. Councillor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to motion that we remove the twilight charge.
I believe I've seen that within the report already being removed, but I'll take a seconder. Councillor Noxana, discussion? I do believe I read it somewhere that it hasn't been used and they were not recommending moving forward with it. Call the question to remove twilight fee. All in favor? Carried. Anything else, Councillor Bertrand?
Yep.
Okay.
Last one, advertising at the golf course. I think we're missing a huge opportunity to increase the revenue down there. I did see in the report that staff's recommending not changing the rates to the sale of advertising down at the golf course, but looking them over here, it doesn't quite make sense to me. Whereas we could, for example, at the Ball Diamonds and the arena, we have those boards up there for the year at a significantly higher cost than what's proposed here at the golf course. The tee box marker advertisements ×6, I don't quite understand that one or what that is and why it's the same cost as a bench sign advertisement. I'm assuming all of these charges are per year, but I don't think we should be charging them per year. I think they should be multi-year. Minimum 5 years, up to 10 years charge, just to show commitment, but also increase the revenue. And then less administration to try and track down every year if they want to renew their advertisements. So just as a point of reference, if you're ever out to Farmington in our region, they have got a sign or advertisement on absolutely everything out there. Tee box markers, flag poles, signs, hole signs. The driving range fence advertisement is a great idea, but I think that needs to be significantly increased because the size of the sign could be significant, and it has a huge advertisement ability where it's located. So I'm not in favor of not changing some of these. Would love to hear what council's thoughts are on it.
Yeah, I'll make a couple comments. Reading through this, talks about staff looking to engage more in the process to get it out in regards to advertising. Right now, hasn't been any advertising on the golf course as long as this has been in the sale of advertising policies been into play. And I think when we start changing before we've even seen anybody come out on the course to actually buy into the advertising on the golf course, I think we got to give it some time to get some companies and industry out there to actually jump on it first. I mean, it's been, I can't even remember how many years. I'd have to find the date actually in here. And I might have it in my office. It's been a long time. But it does say about staff, looking at pushing in regards to the sale advertising. March 2020 was established. Today is 2026. And yet sell one advertising on the golf course. I think increasing it and trying to change it and everything else, I think we need to allow staff to do their job in regards to trying to flesh this out with businesses and corporations within the region. And I agree with you. I think it's a huge asset. I think that's why it was worked on or direction given by council back then to look at this. No difference in, not the same topic, but I look at what staff had brought forward as a sample. It wasn't really a report. It was mixed in with another report in regards to arena advertising. When we talk about the Zamboni, the stairs, the railing. I mean, I thought it was phenomenal. I can't wait till it gets back in front of us. I think the same with this. I think as we give staff an opportunity to drive this and put a driver behind it to see if they can get some advertising on the course, I think then it's worth having a look at it. That's my thoughts. I think, when you say the driving range fence advertisement, we should raise it because it's 500 over there. Golf course is used 6 months. Not many people go down there. I mean, including at the restaurant that's down there. So really ensure that you're getting probably what you deserve for paying for advertising down, in my view. When we talk about T-box marks is for 6, I believe that's because there's white, blue, red on each hole. So it'd be 6 per hole. That's why I think it says 6, but I just asked Ms. Scott that one. I don't want to be wrong, but my thoughts is there's 3 different stages. Ms. Scott?
Yeah, that's correct, and that is all described in the golf course sale of advertising policy, and the sign of the size of the signs on the driving range are 4x6 too, just for information. And that's all specified in the policy.
Yeah, it's inside this report too. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I mean, I didn't hear anything I disagree with as far as advertising go, except for the fact of, I kind of want to know why it's been 6 years with literally nothing. I'm kind of leaning towards asking just for a report, give staff some time and some dedication on, and even consulting perhaps locally with some of the businesses that might, on why they haven't, or maybe it's just simply they didn't know. But I think timeline-wise, this is not something that should be in this budget, and I wouldn't mind cutting it out and having it as a separate item.
So when it was first established, I would say it was council direction, not so much staff council direction. Here's what we were looking for. There it is. Get it out there. I believe it's on our website and such. Allow those businesses or corporations to come forward if they so wish. We didn't really give direction for staff to drive it. But reading through here, it talks about staff looking at, I say driving, it'd probably be the wrong thing, but doing more advertising on to see if they can, in regards to getting advertisement down there. So I do think, council, when we first initiated this, we may not have, I think it was on that council, which I was part of. We were looking for something. It was brought forward. We've seen it at other golf courses. So I think that's what council has to take on back then, that we didn't send that to ask staff just to push on it. We thought getting it out there, getting it on the website, being at a meeting on YouTube, talking about it with other industry and businesses with the chamber being involved and such, that there would be a grasp there. I'll be honest, as a business owner, I think about it every year, probably about this time, and then when golf season comes in, I don't even think about it. And maybe I'm not the only business that thinks about that. You think about it, and then all of a sudden you forget about it because summer gets here and you get busy. So I think, like, when I see it in staff, I mean, staff can speak for themselves, but it talks about it, about them looking at starting to push it a bit more, whether that's through the websites or reaching out. But I know that's what's in there. And Ms. Scott, I'm not sure from staff side if that's what the initiative is. I mean, another report's going to be what's in our report today, and it talks about it in it. Ms. Scott?
Yeah, we don't have a clear plan yet exactly what that's going to look like, but we do plan on focusing more on advertising the ability for businesses to advertise at the golf course.
Does that suffice, Councillor Hoffman? No problem.
And that's kind of the back of my head, a report with a timeline, whether it's before next budget or 6 months from now. Like, if it's not helpful and it's already on in the pipeline, if you will, I'm good with that. I just don't want it to be dropped again for yet another year. It seems there's some potential there.
Yeah, and it does say it on page 24, doesn't have a date. Staff will focus on marketing the golf course and promoting advertising opportunities. To me, I think we're going to see something different again, and they can only do so much if businesses or corporations don't come forward to jump on it. We can, I'd say maybe, I wouldn't say report, but Ms. Scott, I mean, if you need a motion, we can do it, that we as we get advertising, that we're just updated via email, that we've sold flag advertising. If you want an emotion, I have no problem putting it there. I mean, I don't expect that the day you sell some advertising to be in contact with council, but then it does give us, for Councillor Hoffman's comment, it does give us that we are out there, if that helps, instead of, I just don't want more reports, I'll be honest. I've seen the summary action sheet in the last council meeting. I think it's almost 3 pages now. Would that, oh, I did have you on, sorry. Would that help, like, for that concept?
And honestly, if staff is comfortable and fine and has a plan for it, then I'm good with that. I don't need an email that 1 4x6 section has been sold. It was more that if it needed a marker, if it needed something, and if staff doesn't feel they need anything, I'm absolutely fine with it.
Okay. Ms. Scott?
I don't think we need a motion. we've flagged this is something that we want to start working on this year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns in regards to the golf course fees and charges review? I'll put a motion on the floor that council approves the recommended changes and amendments to the fees and charges bylaw and forward to a regular meeting for readings. Seconder, Councilor Noxana, discussion? Everybody's good? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Take a resolution for a closed meeting, please. Councilor Noxana?
That the April 13th, 2026 Policies and Priorities Committee meeting be closed to the public according to Section 92BI of the Community Charter to permit discussions about the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and provincial government or the federal government or both, or between a provincial government or the federal government or both and a third party.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman, discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Mayor Kakago is opposed. Motion carries.